Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is reading Sylvia Plath. They aren't reading her for a school project or a history degree. They're reading her because they feel like they're suffocating, and Sylvia is the only one who seems to know why. It's 2026. We have AI, we have space travel, we have the entire world in our pockets. So why are we still haunted by a woman who wrote on a manual typewriter in a freezing London flat 60 years ago? The truth is, Sylvia Plath didn't just write poetry. She wrote a survival guide for the messy, the ambitious, and the overwhelmed. She is the ghost in our machine, and today, we're going to find out why she's more viral now than she ever was when she was alive. The fig tree and modern FOMO. We talk a lot about FOMO today, the fear of missing out. But Sylvia was the original architect of that feeling. She had this famous vision called the fig tree. She saw herself sitting in the branches of a tree, and every fig was a different life she could lead. One was a happy wife. One was a famous poet in Paris. One was a brilliant editor in New York. But here's the scary part. As she sat there, she couldn't choose. She wanted all the figs. And because she couldn't have them all, she watched the figs turn black and drop to the ground at her feet. In 2026, we are all sitting in that tree. We see 1,000 different lives we could live on Instagram, and it paralyzes us. Sylvia wasn't crazy, she was just the first person to realize that having every option is its own kind of prison. The girl with the red lipstick. If you look at her photos, she looks like a 1950s ad for laundry detergent. She's smiling, her hair is perfect, her outfits are coordinated. She was a straight-A student, a Fulbright scholar, a perfectionist. But that was the mask. Sylvia lived the ultimate double life. She was human in a way the 1950s didn't allow women to be. She was angry, she was sexually frustrated, she was competitive, she was funny, like, really biting, sarcastic funny. We're obsessed because she proves that the perfect version of ourselves we show the world is usually the least interesting part of who we are. She gives us permission to be a terrible person sometimes, to feel jealous, to feel rage, and to want more than we're supposed to. The Ariel awakening, turning pain into power. When Sylvia's marriage blew up and she was left alone with 2 kids, the world expected her to disappear. Instead, she woke up. Every morning at 4 a.m., she'd drink a cup of strong coffee and write like she was running out of oxygen. These poems, the Ariel poems, are the reason she's a legend. She didn't write about sadness. She wrote about revenge. She wrote about rising from the ashes. She spoke to her trauma like it was an enemy she was finally ready to face. This is why Gen Z and millennials love her. She didn't just cope with her pain, she made it famous. She turned her vulnerability into a suit of armor. The unfiltered journal, the original Finster, before there were private accounts or locked notes, there was Sylvia's journals. She wrote things like, "I am vertical, but I would rather be horizontal." She talked about her skin, her hair, her hatred of mundane chores, and her desperate need to be seen. In a world of curated authenticity, Sylvia is the real deal. She isn't trying to sell you a lifestyle. She's trying to survive her own mind. When you read her journals, it doesn't feel like reading a dead poet. It feels like reading a text message from your most honest friend at 3 in the morning. That's why we're obsessed. She's the only person who doesn't lie to us. The legacy, why she stays. So, is it the tragedy? Is that why we're here? No, the tragedy is just the reason we started looking. We stay because Sylvia Plath is the mirror we need. She reminds us that it's okay to be too much. It's okay to be a starving person in a world that tells you to be full. She isn't a victim, she's a pioneer. She went into the darkest parts of the human heart and came back with a map. The bell jar might have closed on her, but because she wrote it all down, it never has to close on us.